Hey guys, I'm back with a PvP tips for newer players in 2021. There's a lot of new people in Sea of Thieves because of Christmas and the big Steam sale, so I thought it was a good idea to just put out a couple basic tips for anyone looking to get into PvP. So the first thing you need to decide is if you're going to play adventure mode or arena mode. A lot of people say if you want a PvP, you should go to arena mode, and they're half right. It's a more structured PvP that's kind of like capture the flag. You can play on a galleon with 4 people or a sloop with 2. And it's kind of hard to find a match. Not a lot of people play this these days. Plus, the devs have said they will not be adding new content to Arena in the future, so just know that going into it. The mode you're probably looking for is Adventure Mode, which is what everyone plays. This can be done on a galleon with 4 people, a brig with 3, or a sloop with 2, or by yourself. Now, I've seen so many people say that you need a crew to play Sea of Thieves. You cannot play by yourself, it's too hard, etc, etc. That's not true at all. That's complete nonsense. I've been playing solo since alpha, and it is hard. You're gonna die a lot, but you will get better. And it's a totally viable option. If you want more info on that, you can check out my solo slooper video for tips that will hopefully make it less scary. But when you get into these, if you have a crew already, you can go to closed crew, or if you want to play by yourself. If you really want to try and find a crew, you can try the open matchmaking. It's a bit hit or miss. It can be pretty hard to find a good crew on there, but you might just have to suffer through it. So your next choice is your weapon setup. This can be changed to any of the weapon lockers, either on your boat or on an outpost. First up is your cutlass. This is a good close range weapon and good for staying mobile. Flintlock is good at mid range and a good middle of the road gun. Blunderbuss is best when defending your ship when you're on deck. And Eye of Reach would be good at long range, but it does have some hit registration issues. Although I'm sure you've seen people using this at close range with quickscopes. I would recommend against trying this as a new player. Also, double gunning, using 2 guns instead of a sword. I would recommend against this right now too. I think the best thing for a new player is sword and pistol. It gives you good range and the mobility with the sword. I think it's a great place to start, and if you need more tips on that, check out my Sword Lord video, and that should help get you started. When using a sword, blocking is super important. It seems obvious, but a lot of people don't do it, and it'll make you better than like 70% of the people playing. All you have to do is just hold up your block and just aim at the attacks coming towards you. Simple as that. So the sword can only do a 3-hit combo. That means after you block 3 hits, then you need to make 3 hits. This back and forth is the basis of sword fighting in Sea of Thieves. Lunge jumping is pretty important in PvP. The way you do it is that you hold your block, do your lunge, and right as your lunge activates, hit jump. This can help you jump over gaps, jump ship to ship, or just get a speed boost in the water. I'm sure most of you have seen people hiding on other players' ships. The way that you do this is that you have to go to the Pirate Emporium, which is located above the Order of Souls purple tent. Go into there, talk to the shopkeeper, and then go to the Pirate tab. Scroll over until you see the Hide and Sneak emote bundle, and inside there should be a free emote called Hide. This will make you curl up into a little ball, and most importantly, hide your nameplate, so you can sneak on other players' ships without them knowing. So when you spawn in, the first thing you want to do is gather supplies, go around the island looking in barrels and bring everything back to your ship. What I normally look out for are pineapples, which heal you for the max amount, chain shots, and cursed cannonballs, which are special cannonballs that will apply a certain effect to an enemy player or ship and can turn the tide of battle in PvP. When using cannons, it's important to note that chain shots are heavier than normal cannonballs, so you have to aim a little bit higher than usual. You can access them on the cannonball radial using Q on keyboard or LB on controller. If you're on PC, what I like to do is use WASD to get the cannon in the general area I'm firing, and then use the mouse to fine-tune the shot. A big tip for newer players is never anchor when parking. Just roll up your sails until you come to a full stop. Not only will anchoring make it obvious that you're new, but it'll make it way easier for people to sneak up and sink your ship. In Sea of Thieves, knowing how to maintain your sail is extremely important. You should always try and catch the wind as best you can, unless you're sailing directly into the wind, in which case all 3 ships should have their sails aimed directly forward. This doesn't make much sense, but this is just how it works. The sloop is a special case. If you can't catch the wind in your sails at all, you need to have your sail aimed forward at all times. The sloop is actually the fastest of all 3 boats sailing directly into the wind. So if you're being chased, all you have to do is turn into the wind, aim your sail forward, and no one can catch you. When chasing another ship, there's a really good chance the other players are going to try and board your ship, so that's something you need to look out for. Here's an example. Did you hear that noise? That is probably the most important noise in this game that you need to recognize. The mermaid, the swimming, and then the splash as someone is climbing up your ladder. I'll play it again. The second you hear that, you need to drop what you're doing and pay attention to your ladders. An important lesson a lot of players learn the hard way is do not keep kegs on your ship, not even in the crow's nest. It's just not worth it.
Wait, that's not a skeleton ship.
No, that's my ship. All right, gotta go.
No. Oh, well.
Don't keep those in your crow's nest. Let that be a lesson. If you're hunting other players and you want to find a populated server, a good way to do this is to check the emissary tables next to each faction. If there's any players flying this flag, there will be a little toy ship for every ship that's participating. This can also be an indication that they have a good amount of loot to steal. You can find them by looking for ships flying the long, skinny triangle flag that also have a flag on the very back of their ship. When looking for other players, I'll normally run a loop somewhere between Sanctuary, Plunder, and Galleon's Grave outposts. This will give you a pretty good view of the map and will help you find other players. Being able to guess a player's skill based purely on their cosmetics is a really good thing to learn, and one of the most obvious is this sail in particular is almost always flown by new players. Another good way that's a bit more difficult is that if you can see a boat from far away and you notice it has no figurehead, chances are that's a newer player too. When looking for other players, don't confuse skeleton ships, which are NPCs, with real players. The way you can tell is that they'll have blue and green lights and rickety looking sails. Also, the skeleton sloop will have a bigger back than the normal sloop. Another good way to look for players is to look for Reaper markings on the map. There's a lot of these, so let's go through them. There's the Reaper chest, the Reaper's bounty, the Reaper's mark, and the Reaper's emissary, which represents the PvP faction called the Reaper's bones, found on Reaper's hideout. If anyone on the server has a Reaper's chest, it'll be marked on the map with a red skull. If the skull's moving, that means someone has it. And you can see it on the horizon with the red and green ribbons, although the ribbons will disappear once someone has picked it up. The same thing goes for Reaper's bounty, except instead of red, it's gold. The Reaper's mark is a flag that marks you on the map for everyone to see. This can be found in your flag box, and be careful because a lot of new players accidentally fly this. This is basically just telling other players that you want to fight. Reaper's emissaries can also be seen on the map, and they go from rank 1 to 5. At rank 5, a Reaper emissary can see every other emissary that's on the map. To be a Reaper's emissary, you just have to find the table with the skeleton above it on any outpost or on Reaper's hideout. And to rank it up, the best way to do it is to collect loot and sink other emissary ships, because you can take their flags and bring them back to Reaper's hideout to turn in. That's all I've got for today, and I stream every weekday and most weekends at twitch.tv/blurbs. If you have any other questions or you just want to come hang out, feel free. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.